Growing calls today for Maine Democratic Senate nominee Graham Platner to drop out of the race. This amid sexual assault allegations. Platner denies the allegations, but he now says, quote, he's taking time to reflect on the best path forward. Lee Waldman reports.
It was pretty obvious before the primary this was a person not fit for public office. We have to be consistent. Right? I mean, these are disgusting allegations.
Pressure is mounting for Maine Democratic nominee Graham Platner to end his Senate campaign after a woman told CNN and Politico that he raped her while they were in a casual dating relationship almost 5 years ago. Jenny Rassicott says Platner entered her home without her permission in 2021 and forcibly had sex with her while he was heavily intoxicated.
I remember specifically him grabbing at my chest, and I hit his hand and I said, "Don't touch me." And I remember that during the altercation.
And
specifically.
then he kept going.
Yeah.
Platner has denied these allegations.
Regardless of the inaccuracy of the reporting, but mindful of the political reality it will inflict, we are taking the time to reflect on the best path forward for the state that I love.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer has vowed not to spend money to beat the Republican incumbent unless Platner withdraws. Senators Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, who previously endorsed Platner, have also called for him to step aside.
I'm hearing from many folks in Maine, all levels of the Democratic Party, who are strongly hoping he will drop out.
These calls come 1 week ahead of the July 13th deadline for general election candidates to withdraw from the ballot. If Platner does, the Senate Democratic Party will have 2 weeks to offer up a replacement candidate. Lee Waldman, 13 Action News.